Good morning, fellow Hoops fans. Welcome back to another episode of the Last Shot NBA show right here on Little Birdie TV. As always, brought to you by our great mates over there at topsport.com.au. Now it's Wednesday morning. That means we've got Mr. Andrew Parkinson on deck. Parky, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Nick, and what a great day it is in the NBA world. We've got plenty to talk about as usual.
Yes, we were just talking about this off air a couple of seconds ago that NBA never falls short in providing storylines for us to talk about. Isn't that right? Great. Like you said, Parky, the greatest soap opera on earth.
It's the greatest reality TV show going around for sure, mate. We're not even a third of the season in, and there's so much to talk about and so much to look forward to as well.
All right, we're going to kick things off, Parky. We're going to start with things down there in Atlanta, and there seems to be a bit of a situation between Trae Young and head coach Nate McMillan. Now, according to reports, this stemmed from last weekend. Now, he didn't sit courtside for the Hawks game. I believe it was on Saturday, our time, Friday in the US. And it stemmed apparently from an incident the day before with the team shoot around. Now, Trae Young's been injured, hadn't played. Coach Nate McMillan apparently asked Trae Young to participate in the shoot around, get some treatment, and then obviously, come and sit on the bench later that night. To see how he feels post shoot around, and then, hopefully try either play or come sit on the bench. He said, no, I'm not going to participate. Again, allegedly, we don't know the full story. And Nate McMillan apparently told him, well, if you don't participate, don't bother showing up to the game tonight. And guess what? He didn't show up to the game that night. Now, he was asked about it the next day. Nate McMillan put it down to a miscommunication. Trae Young was asked about it at Hawks shoot-around the following day, and things got a little bit testy, Parky. We're just going to listen to the clip right now, and then we're going to get into our thoughts on this whole thing.
Situation, we're all grown men here, and there's sometimes we don't always agree, and it's unfortunate that private situations and private conversations get out to the public, but I guess that's what the world we live in now. But I'll just focus on basketball and focus on helping my team win, and that's what I got to get to refocus it on.
But what's public was that you not at the game, so why weren't you there?
Man, it sounded like you was at me, bro.
I'm curious. You're leader of this team.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard for people who don't know the full situation to understand it. So, it's like I said, it's a private matter again, and it made public, which was unfortunate. And if it was stayed private, it probably wouldn't have been as big of a deal. But like I said, it's unfortunate. But my job and my goal is to win a championship, and that's all I focus on.
Parky, we've got some conflicting views there from the star point guard and the head coach. Are things good in Atlanta?
Well, it doesn't seem to be that way. And I have to pick him up on something. He did say that we're all grown men. Well, I don't think Trae came across as a petulant little child in this one, I think, because, look, as it turned out, Nate wanted him to get treatment on the shoulder during the walkthrough, which is very important for NBA teams in preparing for the game. And they prepared well for this game because they actually won without Trae, without the ice Trae. So, but for him not to show up to a home game, that's pretty big. That's throwing a tanty, as we would say in Australia. I'm going to get on Trae a little bit here because he didn't actually address the issue. The reporter asked him, how come you weren't on the bench? You're a leader of this team. It's a home game. It's your shoulder injury. It's not like you can't walk anywhere. You could sit on the bench, cheer your teammates on. So I thought Trae came out of this looking pretty poor, if you ask me.
Yeah, I agree with you, Parky, to a certain extent. Look, and I say that because I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit here. We don't know the full story, right? If there is more to this than what we do know, and as Trae is saying that it is a private matter and there is reasons why he wasn't there, and I don't know what those reasons could be. I'm just saying if there is, he kind of did answer that, and the reporter kept prodding, and Trae was giving him the same answer. It's a private matter. We've dealt with it, et cetera, et cetera. Look, in these situations, right, if things become untenable between star point guard and head coach, the head coach is always the first one to go, isn't he, Parky?
I was just going to mention that. Let's throw some names out there like Brett Brown, Steve Nash, Frank Vogel. Once you get in a bit of a beef with one of your superstar players who earn 10 times as much as the coaches do, by the way, in the NBA, yeah, it's definitely favoured in the players. So I don't know if Nate should be. I think he just signed a new deal, and things seem to be going well out there in Atlanta land. But yeah, I'm not so sure about this. I think this is a bigger deal than people are making out to be. And as I said, and my thing is, he didn't address the issue. He didn't give the reasons. Trae Young did not give a reason why he didn't show up to the game. Okay, we probably know why he didn't play, because the coach wanted him at the walkthrough and the shoot around. So he didn't really address the issue. So reading between the lines, there's obviously a disagreement going on here. And I've got another feeling that I don't know. I just get this feeling that I think Trae thinks that it's the coach that leaked this out, because he keeps mentioning about how it's unfortunate this got out. It's unfortunate it got out.
Yep.
But I mean, the fact is, he wasn't there for a home game, and he had a shoulder complaint, and he then went and played the next game. So, yeah, I think that should have been answered. I think I don't think we got enough out of Trae for this, but yeah, it might not be looking great for Coach Nate at the moment.
No, well, Trae Young, like you mentioned, he's in the first year of a 5-year, $215 million deal that he just signed recently. So, yeah, I think things might not be looking good for Coach Nate. All right, let's move on, Parky. Over to the Western Conference, we're going to talk about a couple of teams. One, my beloved New York, I was going to say New York Knicks, my beloved New Orleans Pelicans and the Denver Nuggets. Both these teams are right up there in the top half of the Western Conference, Parky. I've been high on the Pelicans. If you remember, I said they were a dark horse to at least make the NBA Finals. They're currently second in the Western Conference, Parky. The Denver Nuggets, though, were demolished by the Pelicans on Monday, 106. So they've dropped back down to third. Pelicans move into second. Pels currently on a 4-game winning streak. Parky, can either of these two teams make the NBA Finals?
I think there's a possibility that they could. I mean, as you mentioned, they're both in the top half. They're actually both in the top 4 of the Western Conference, and everyone else has been getting their flowers, so to speak, in the Western Conference. Of course, the Suns are leading the conference as they did last year. The Clippers are 6th. The Kings, we've given them a bit of run for 5th. But when you look at the Pelicans at 2nd with 15-8, and Denver 4th in the Western Conference at 14-9. Yeah, these two teams have sort of flown under the radar a little bit as far as getting their kudos for the job that they've done so far, and we're nearly a third of the way through the season, and these teams have put themselves in a pretty good position. Particularly, I mean, you look at Denver, they're leading the league in field goal percentage at 50%. So I mean, that's a great effort, for them, and they're also second in 3-point percentage. They're just a tick below 40%, and the only team shooting better than them from the 3 are the Celtics. So yeah, when you look at that, Denver, they've set themselves up for the only problem I've got with them is that they're 26th as far as 3-point attempts go in the league. So for me, if you're shooting around 40%, best in the league, you probably want to put up a few more threes. But then again, in saying that, that's probably why they shoot them at such a good at a good rate, because they're more selective. So it's a bit of a catch-22 there. But no, both these teams, and you look at the Pelicans, they're actually 3rd in the league in points differential. They're winning their games. They've got a points differential of nearly 7 points a game. So that's pretty good. And I think their field goal percentage is up there nearly 49%. So they're about 3rd in the league too. So no, these two teams, they're sort of sneaky little teams. They've sort of snuck up on us a little bit. And and I think they're going to definitely have a lot to say in the Western Conference.
Yeah, look, I like Denver. I'm not as high on them as, maybe some other people are as far as like potential championship or finals. Look, Nikola Jokic is the best player on either one of these two teams. We can pretty much all agree on that fact. But I look at Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum, and Zion Williamson, and that is the best trio, and I think they've got the best trio. I also think New Orleans is a little bit deeper. I think they legitimately go probably 9-10 deep. You got guys like Jose Alvarado, who's been absolutely balling out a career high 38 points, I believe it was, the other day. You mentioned the Pelicans statistics. I think they're third in. Let me just double check that. They're fifth best offense, and they've got the ninth best defense. So they're doing okay on both ends of the floor. But look, that trio for me, look, they're averaging just under 62 points per game. Zion, CJ, and Brandon Ingram. Nikola Jokic, clearly the best player, but I think that's the best trio for me. I just still think that the Pelicans are better, well-equipped to go deeper in the playoffs than the Nuggets.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that as well. I think you're right. The depth of the Pelicans is pretty good, and not only that, their 8th draft pick, Dyson Daniels, the Aussie boy from Bendigo, he's finding his way in this team as well, and they're looking and getting him a lot more minutes. So I think he's surprised them as well. So I mean, even their rookie they picked up is providing them some great minutes. So no, I definitely agree with that. The Pelicans have definitely got some more depth there. And also, if you want to pick not pick on the Nuggets, but I guess the one negative, or you could call it a negative, is that their points differential is 13th in the league. They're giving up 114.7 and 113.6, and they're only scoring 114.7. So that's only a 1.1, which I guess with a 14-9 record, I guess that does tell you that they're good in the clutch. They win the close games, which is always good for a winning team and for a playoff team. But no, I think you're right there. I think the Pelicans definitely have that depth, and if injuries come into play, I think Michael Porter Jr., for example, is doubtful for today. He's day-to-day currently. So I think Denver are sort of a bit more susceptible to injuries and that, because their depth isn't as great as the Pelicans. But look, both these teams have really set themselves up for a great season.
Yeah, especially my beloved Pelicans, Parky. All right,
You're gonna own them now. You're gonna own them in the West. You got the New Orleans in the West, and you got the New York Knicks in the East. So
that's it. It's all about the new with me.
That's
all right,
fair.
Parky. We're gonna move on to the eternal debate now, because it's popped up in the news once again, because old mate Draymond Green has put his 2 cents in, and that is the GOAT debate. The LeBron James versus Michael Jordan debate always seems to pop up on the news cycle. Now, like I said, Draymond has given us his 2 cents worth. We're going to listen to what Draymond had to say, and then again, we're going to get into it, Parky, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
My top 5 is LJ number 1, MJ number 2, Kobe number 3, Steph number 4, and Shaq number 5.
Okay. You got Bron first.
Yes, because what Bron has done, like, when you talk about Cicely Tyson,
Yeah.
Bron started in 03. By 2005, Bron was the best player in the NBA.
Yeah.
In 2020, he was still the best player in the NBA. He was the best player in the NBA no matter what the game did. The game went from 2 slugs, like slow big man, to like a stretch 4 big man, to like back to 2 big man, to like big man.
Me and you out there playing the phone.
Facts.
And he's been the best no matter what. When you look at the teams that Bron has carried to championship or carried to the finals, MJ didn't beat the greatest team ever assembled, nor did he run up against the greatest team ever assembled every year.
Now, Parky, you know where I stand on this. I agree with Draymond for the most part. I think he made a couple of points that I strongly disagree with. They weren't the greatest team ever assembled, those Warriors that lost that final series from 3-1 up. But I've been saying since about 2008, 2009, LeBron James is the best basketball player I've ever seen in my life. Michael Jordan might be the greatest because that encompasses legacy and things like that. LeBron James is the best basketball player I've ever seen in my life. And I know you disagree, so let me have it.
Yes, look, I do. Look, I actually get uncomfortable talking about this because, look, I am an MJ guy, okay? I may be showing my age there because, my age is pretty similar to MJ. In fact, I'm actually the same height as MJ, so there you go. I think that's where the similarities end, right about there. But no, look, I am an MJ guy, but look, I'm not mad. I'm not mad on LeBron because I'm not a LeBron hater. In fact, I do not understand why LeBron gets so much negativity. And I will say, when I say I get uncomfortable with this argument, because sometimes comparison is the thief of joy. And whenever we compare these two guys, I mean, They're both great. Okay. And look, there wouldn't be a LeBron James if there wasn't a Michael Jordan. That would be my first argument. But look, Dre's entitled to his opinion, obviously. But let's just clarify some things. Firstly, Draymond is with Clutch Sports. Okay. He's got the same agency as LeBron, and he may be angling for a little bit of a trade to the Lakers to play alongside LeBron. So let's just take that into consideration. And also Draymond, even though he's pumping up LeBron, he's also pumping up him and his own team, talking about how, LeBron had to go against the greatest team ever, which is the team that Draymond played in. So he's flexing a little bit there for himself, saying that, played against the greatest team of all time. I would argue that the greatest team of all time was the Chicago Bulls, and that's because they had Michael Jordan on it. I know they had Scottie Pippen and they had Dennis Rodman for those last three, but and Kukoc came in as well. Look, they had a great coach as well. But in saying that, it's always going to be MJ for me, even though, look, I'm not a LeBron hater at all. But I'll ask you this, Nick, though. Do you think that these comments had anything to do with Draymond perhaps making things right between him and LeBron, and maybe he gets traded to the Lakers?
No, I don't. They're actually really great friends off court. They have been friends for a long, long time. I think it was LeBron was at Draymond's wedding just a few months ago as well. So he's always been bigging up LeBron. They've got that, great friendship. But I agree with you, Parky. Like I said, I don't think the Warriors team, was the greatest team of all time. I think it was the 96 Bulls, the 72-10 Bulls, first team to win 70 games. And like the Bulls motto was back then, 72-10 don't mean a thing without a ring. The Warriors went 73-9, but they blew a 3-1 lead in that NBA Finals, partly because Draymond Green got suspended for kicking or attempting to kick LeBron. So they definitely weren't the greatest team of all time. But look, again, another point that I've been saying is, and I know you said we hate to compare and all that sort of stuff. So I'm just going to make one quick final comparison. I think if you've got a prime MJ and a prime LeBron, and you're a GM picking a team, to start a team from scratch, I think the GM picks LeBron 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, look, I'd probably say 5 times out of 10, but yeah, but no, but seriously, when you look at the players over the course of history, I mean, these two guys do stand out, MJ and LJ. They definitely do stand out, and yeah, the generations, one generation will be all about MJ and one will be about LeBron. But look, I look back at the way it's officiated, and the other argument that I would have with Dre when he says that LeBron came up against far better opponents, I would say that the rule changes they've had would have suited Jordan in the current game, and because he was beaten to a pulp by those Pistons teams back in the late 80s, and the rules were different. Hand checking was allowed. There was a lot of things that would have made it easier for Jordan in the current game, but that's taking nothing away from LeBron, and I'm definitely not a LeBron basher. So look, I'm quite happy to sort of sit on the fence here, but if I have to give my 2 cents worth, I would say Michael, but in saying that, look, LeBron's he's just been incredible.
Yeah, look, I think we should agree that there's levels, there's GOAT levels. There's not one GOAT, there's levels, and all these guys belong on the same level because they've all been fantastic to watch. Exactly.
And you can go through who's the most consistent, who played the longevity. You could go to that. You could go to, the statistics. I mean, LeBron's just about to pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the greatest point scorer in the NBA. So I think the arguments for LeBron, I think, are just going to get stronger and stronger. But I think, I think there'll be a lot of people like myself still staying loyal to MJ.
Yeah, and I'm sure this debate will rage on for many, many years to come. All right, Parky, let's take a look at today's games, and then we're going to get out of here. We're going to start off today with the Detroit Pistons, and we're going to start off with the Lakers and the Cleveland Cavaliers. So the Cavaliers, $1.45 favorites, Lakers at $2.73. The line's at -5.5. Totals at 225.5. Live on ESPN. Now, Parky, this one's a little bit tricky because we saw a few moments before we went to air that LeBron and AD are both day-to-day still, and they were day-to-day the other day when we made our picks, and both ended up playing. And obviously AD had that big game. Now the Lakers have won 3 in a row, obviously behind some great play from Anthony Davis. Cavs lost to the Knicks on Monday because, that's what happens when you play the Knicks. Lakers 4-6 on the road. Cavs are 10-1 at home. They've been absolutely fantastic. What are you seeing from this one, Parky?
Yes, well, assuming that I guess LeBron, and AD play, because as you mentioned, we have to give a qualifier in our tip we gave on Monday with the Wizards there, because AD came out and had his game of the year, 55 points to beat us there. But it's a little bit, it's a little bit of a tough one in this one. But I do like the Cavs. That line is definitely creeping out. It's been 4.5, 5. It's now 5.5, which makes me think that maybe one of those big guns might be out or might be leaning towards sitting out. But yeah, the Cavs, you're right. They're going well, especially at home. They've won their last 6 home games, and there's a stat here that is very interesting with the Lakers, and that's after winning as underdogs, which they did against the Wizards. They were 3-point underdogs. The Lakers haven't covered the line on 7 of their last 8 road games. So there's a little bit of a quirky stat for you there that that I think is going to be in the Cavs' favour. So my pick in this game is the Cavs minus 5.5.
Parky, can I sort of go out on a limb here a little bit and just sort of say, look, I think if LeBron and AD don't play, obviously, I think the Cavs do win. But I think if both of those guys play, and to be honest with you, I've got a feeling they might, because they might want to look to extend this good run of play that they've had and extend the winning streak to 4. If both of those guys play, I'm going for the Lakers in the upset.
Yep. Well, when are we going to find out? I mean, the game starts in just over 2 hours. So, it's I'm going to stick with my pick, the Cavs minus 5.5. As far as the under/over goes and the total there, 8 of the last 9 Cavs games have gone under. So I will be leaning towards the under there. Look, I think it might be worth maybe staying away. I've just changed my mind on the spot. I think I like the under better than the Cavs pick there. Just with that, I've already been bitten earlier on the week with this team. So I'm going to make the official pick in this one. I'm going to change it on air as we go to under 225.5. So that's going to be my pick in the game.
Okay. All right. Next game we're going to take a look at, Parky. We've got the Detroit Pistons and the Miami Heat. Heat, $1.35 favorites. Pistons, $3.20. Lines at -7. Total 220 flat. Live on NBA League Pass. Heat playing second night of a back-to-back. Lost to the Grizzlies yesterday. Pistons, they're bad. They're half a game ahead of the Orlando Magic, mired at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. What are you seeing from this one, Parky?
Yes, well, you'd think it'd be all heated, this one. But, again, I was burnt by the Pistons last week. I think they played the Mavs, and the Mavs were favoured by 8 points, and the Pistons won outright. So I'm a little bit scared, about that one. What I do like in this game is the over here. The last 6 Heat home games have gone over, and I really feel that they can go over. The Pistons don't play a lot of defense, and they score a lot. So that's the way I'm going to go in this game. I'm going to take the over.
Yeah, I'm going with the over with you, Parky. The Heat to win and the Heat to cover the spread.
Yep. And here's a note for you. The Pistons have lost their last 14 games versus Eastern Conference opponents. So, I don't see the Pistons necessarily, winning this one. But that spread of 7 points is, it's a fair amount up there. So we'll stay away from that and just cheer for the offense in this game.
All right, last game we're going to take a look at today, Parky. We've got the Denver Nuggets and the Dallas Mavericks. Denver's going into this one favorite at $1.50. Dallas Mavericks, $2.64. Lines at -4.5. Total is at 222.5. Live on ESPN a little bit later today. Now, Mavs also playing second night of a back-to-back. They had a game with the Phoenix Suns yesterday. Nuggets have lost a couple of games in a row. So, like you mentioned, dropped down to 4th. They're 14-9 on the season. Jeff Green and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, both questionable for this game. What are you seeing from this one?
Yeah, look, as you mentioned, the Mavericks aren't a great team, after on their second night of a back-to-back. And, I think that, look, they had a great win yesterday against the Suns. They beat them by 19 points. That game was never in doubt. And they got to rest Luka a little bit, I think, knowing that, this game was coming up the next day. But no, look, I like the Nuggets in this one. I think they can cover that spread of 4.5. And look, the Mavs have lost their last 6 road games versus teams with a winning record. So, I think, and this being the second night of a back-to-back, I think this does point towards a Nuggets win.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Nuggets cover the spread as well. I'm kind of leaning towards staying away from that total. What about you?
Yeah, me too. Look, I am sort of leaning on the over there, and the Mavs' last 6 road games on a back-to-back have gone over. So, yes, I would be leaning towards the over in that one, but I actually like the Nuggets -4.5 in this one.
All right. Well, hopefully we have a better result today than we did on Monday because we didn't have much luck on Monday with our games.
No, I don't like to mention it, but you have slipped below that 500 mark. You're 43 and 46. I'm 32 and 23. So yeah, you went 0 and 3 on Monday. I went 2 and 2 on Monday. So today, let's see if we can get a few wins and get back on track.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Parky. Thank you very much for joining us. We're going to catch you again on Friday morning. Enjoy the games today, mate.
Yeah, look forward to it. See you Friday, Nick.
All right, guys. That's been another episode of the Last Shot NBA show right here on Little Birdie TV, brought to you by our great mates at topsport.com.au. We're going to catch everyone Friday morning.
We'll be right back.